candlelight vigil for Champ, the dog that was dragged behind the truck. You see Champ right over there. I'm Sharon Stone, Operations Manager for In Defense of Animals, Hope Animal Sanctuary, right out of Grenada, Mississippi. This is Dahl Stanley, Director for In Defense of Animals, Justice for Animals Coalition right here in Mississippi. Dahl, you want to tell us a little bit about what IDA does, what you do with Justice for Animals Coalition, and why we're here today?
Well, In Defense of Animals is an international organization that protects animals across the planet. But here in Mississippi, we've served for 24 years with our animal sanctuary, with our cruelty cases. We've had huge cruelty cases with as many as 86 lions, tigers, and bears. We've had laws passed in Mississippi as a result of the cruelty cases that we've worked. But what we have seen is a turn. In 2011, the anti-cruelty statute here in Mississippi was actually amended, and it's worse than it was when I came here 24 years ago. Today, we were in court with the man who drugged this beautiful dog behind his truck while his grandson laughed, videoed it, and put it on Snapchat. And today he was handed a sentence of $1,000 when the maximum was $2,500. It's not a felony, it's a misdemeanor. He can only be told that he can't have dogs for 2 years. He did get a 6 months jail term, but it was remanded unless he does another egregious act of violence towards an animal within the next 2 years. It's ridiculous. This is just a sampling of the people in Mississippi that are sick and tired of the violence that is being seen done to animals, children, and the elderly. The bottom line is violence is violence. We have to start looking for the signs in our children and help them before they become cruel people. But we have to have laws that meet the crimes, or we're not a civilized society. And when someone gets a slap on the hand, walks out of court feeling like they won, that's ridiculous. Farm Bureau feels that if laws are strengthened in the state of Mississippi, that it's a slippery slope to keeping people from farming animals to be eaten. The bottom line is consumerism is going to change the marketplace, not laws. And every law that is passed in any state that has to do with animals has language in it that protects the use, the legal uses of animals. Whatever we think about those uses, hunting, fishing, laboratory experimentation, veterinary care, they're all protected under the law. So for Farm Bureau to fear making a felony to protect dogs and cats is a slippery slope, is ridiculous. It's absurd. And again, this is 2016. Why are we going backwards?
And what does Justice for Animals campaign going to try to do to make this better?
Well, Justice for Animals campaign was recently launched in Mississippi for the purpose of empowering people in their communities to let their officials and legislators and lawmakers make changes. What we hope to do initially is get ordinances passed in the communities that don't have them. And for example, cities and counties may not fine over $1,000, but they can incorporate the current state law into their ordinance, which is a maximum $2,500 fine. When this happens, the state legislators will get the idea that this is what people want. People are working for change. It's just started. Look at the people who have showed out tonight just from a couple of informational blurbs on Facebook, because we care about our animals. And for some people, their animals are their family. This is a gorgeous dog right here who was drugged behind a vehicle almost to death There are people in the crowd here that were his savior. He has been at a veterinarian being taken care of. The woman who is handling him is with the local Humane Society, the Tupelo-Lee Humane Society. They joined us in this activity, and there are advocates all over the state in organizations and individuals who are all joining this program to stop the violence against animals. Michelle, would you like to say something about Champ?
Champ's a great dog. He didn't deserve what happened to him. Unfortunately, he's not the only one in Mississippi that's being mistreated. And without stricter laws that is actually going to penalize somebody for abusing an animal, it's going to continue. Their lives are precious and they deserve more than what's being done for them. We need to really fight to change the way the laws are.
And I'm sorry, I missed your name. What was your
My name's
name?
Michelle. My name's Michelle.
And you're with?
I'm with the Tupelo-Lee Humane Society. I'm the rescue foster coordinator.
What is your last name, Michelle?
P-U-G-H.
So if anybody needs to get in touch with a humane society in this region, Tupelo-Lee Humane Society is known for their fabulous work. In Defense of Animals and the Tupelo-Lee Humane Society have shut puppy mills down together, hoarding cases. We've worked together for years. They do a fabulous job. So anybody in the state who is looking for someone to help them figure out how to handle a case or work on legislation can contact one of the organizations like the Tupelo-Lee Humane Society, the Oxford Lafayette Humane Society, Mississippi Animal Rescue League. We are all working together in this effort.
Let's introduce some of the other people that are here and let them tell their story. Hi, what's your name?
Hey, my name is Tish Kelly.
Hi, Tish.
This is Mason. He's a foster.
Hey, Mason. Why did you think it was important to be here tonight?
It's shameful what's happening in Mississippi, that there is no support by the legislators. They're fearful for whatever reason to increase the laws, and then when we do get somewhat of a law, they never are given the maximum penalty. $1,000 is not the maximum. $2,500 is the maximum. Why did he not receive $2,500 and 6 months in jail? I don't understand that. Back in October of this year in Winona, a live dog was burned to death. His fine was $327. There is no justice, and it's time that we are no longer 49th in the nation when it comes to animal cruelty laws. We need to hold these people accountable.
Thank you so much. Very well
We have a
said.
member of the Winona Animal Advocacy Group who has come from Winona, Mississippi. Carol, would you like to speak on behalf of
Yes.
your organization?
We're a small animal rescue group in Winona, Mississippi, the home of where the dog was burned alive, and the person who did this terrible crime was only given a $327 fine and no prison time whatsoever, and terms to pay the fine off. Our animal rescue group was there, but to no avail. We work hard to rescue our animals, and they are usually transported up north.
And part of that sentencing, he actually got $100 for burning the dog, $100 for keeping a pit bull in town, and the $127 was the court fine. So it truly was a sham when it came to justice. We have Summer here. She's a cruelty investigator from this region. I'm sure she'd like to speak to us.
Well, I've been at the Capitol working on Senate Bill 2174, and to hear the legislators say, why do we need to pass a law when the current law isn't even being used to the fullest? And that's been my argument. And actually witnessing it today where she did not utilize the full maximum penalty that she could have. So it's really hard for our legislators. And then, of course, you've got Farm Bureau opposing this, and they're not really opposing this in other states. It's pretty much Mississippi. They feel it's a slippery slope, and I'm so sick of hearing that word every time you speak to someone with Farm Bureau. It's a very recorded message that they give everyone, the same thing. It's a slippery slope into livestock. Livestock is already a felony. Senate Bill 2174 clearly said dogs and cats. It had nothing to do with livestock. It's just sad that our legislators are being paid off by Farm Bureau. Last year we had a senator come and tell us facts do not matter here. It's who has power and control, and that's Farm Bureau. And that holds true.
That's right.
And it's very sad.
And April, do you represent Veterinary Associates here from Grenada, Mississippi?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Why are you here, April?
Because I think this is atrocious, and I think that we should have tougher laws in the state of Mississippi. This should never happen. Never, ever happen. And to just get a slap on the wrist is ridiculous.
And you have seen many of the animals that Hope Animal Sanctuary has rescued over a period of time, and you see the horrible condition that they come in.
I have, and it's heartbreaking. It's agonizing to see, and I can't imagine what these babies go through. And they can't speak for themselves. It's a blessing that people do get out there and do rescue them and do take care of them.
And you know, the sad thing too is that there are many of us that feel this way. People's lives are so complicated. There's so much to do, and it's amazing to see this many of them animal advocates out when most of us have dogs and cats and stuff at home that we're taking care of, that we've rescued.
Right. But for each rescue you have at home, I mean, there's millions more that have nobody to rescue them or have no voice. It's always a blessing to see people out to support animal advocacy.
And it was extremely sad today to know that the prosecution didn't even do his job. He maybe said all of 5 words through the entire case. And that was extremely disheartening that he didn't fight the case. He literally said, I leave it in the hands of the court. He did not argue the case at all. It's very disheartening. And then to know that we can't even comply with the FBI. The FBI has now put animal cruelty on their uniform crime report, and we can't even comply with the federal law because they are tracking animal abusers, because they have connected the link between human abuse and animal abuse, to where they've now put animal abusers in a Group A felony category, but we can't comply with that because it's not a felony there, not until a second offense. That's kind of major. All I ask.
Now what is your name, dear?
I'm Cheyenne Eddington.
And were you one of the witnesses to this act?
I was. I'm actually the one who's seen it first. It was hard for me to look at it. I literally almost cried and threw my phone. It was awful.
And how did it end? Did the guy stop when he saw people? Were people yelling at him?
No, they were all laughing actually, and he just kept going. And he did not stop until the dog could not walk anymore. It was just awful. And then after, they just said he's not dead, but he's almost, and it was horrible.
How fast would you say he was going?
To me, it looked, I really don't know, but it didn't look slow. It looked pretty fast to me. I'm gonna say about 20, 25.
That's what I said, about 25.
25. It wasn't something you needed to do to a dog.
And you know, we talk about stupid acts by criminals. His grandson didn't just video it,
No.
but he posted it on Snapchat.
He did, and I have him on my Snapchat. And that is nothing I want to see on Snapchat.
Do you go to the school that he goes to?
I do. And I have
What was the reaction of students there?
I tried to stay away from him that day. I think some were just disgusted by it. Just disgusted. I was too. I did not want to look at him. And he acted like it was nothing. He came to school like it was nothing.
We were told he actually stayed home a few days because maybe some of the kids gave him a hard time over doing it.
Yeah, they did. He came to school the next day, people gave him a hard time, so I didn't see him the next day after that. I don't know.
Here's the guy you actually saved. There's Champ. Everybody wants to see Champ. The lady that saved him.
Yes.
There you go. Awesome.
He is the sweetest dog I know. He's so cute.
Gorgeous, he's sweet. And I got a Facebook post from the neighbor to Champ saying the whole thing started over chickens and cats. The bottom line is, if Champ's guardian had been taking care of him like he should be, he wouldn't be next door messing with somebody's chickens.
No.
And
Right.
it's no excuse to torture an animal.
No, never. Look at the precious face. He's so cute.
You all of 70 pounds. I know, you want to play. Sure. He's not even a year old yet.
Well, it's wonderful that he's trusting people.
It was really amazing.
Come here, Champ.
Yes, he wants to go play.
They're big cats.
Oh, bless her heart.
She can't. Hold on, somebody help her. She said she really can't. She ain't playing.
Here.
Oh Lord, he's got me on video. Moving around.
Anybody interested in helping this cause, helping In Defense of Animals or the Tupelo-Lee Animal Shelter, remember, those of us who can't get out and be active, our donations are vital. It's absolutely critical that we fund these kinds of activities. And I know a lot of people feel like everything should be done for free. Everything has a cost. And fighting to get laws passed and having people that are able to spend the time to do it, In Defense of Animals, in this effort, in their Hope Animal Sanctuary care, in their cruelty investigation, we need your support. And every dollar that you spend, you are with us on the ground when we're doing our work. We just greatly appreciate it.
There were holes on it because it had burned it to the skin. That was true. Oh yeah. You should ask Michelle. This one right here. Then I'm gonna update the post on his Pledgy account because that don't even cover. We've only raised on the Pledgy account. We've only raised $370 towards all his treatment. Come here.
I had photos from inside our house that had dead dogs in the bag. They were on Facebook bragging. We had a big they've been in the dog fight. And
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy.
but you know, if you ate like that,
We all wrapped up. Just the leash is the problem. Hey. Lila. No. Lila.
What is your name? D. And you're I didn't bring that.
Turn around this way, Scooter. There you go. Where's his sign?
It's right here, Bubba.
Oh.
This is Carol with Tommy Jr.
Oh, mercy. You're the best. He's watching his mama. Oh, yeah. And Isabel's watching his. Hers. Even goes a few feet away from her.
They were emaciated. They were just, I cannot tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have you on camera.
And what's your name
Introduce
again?
yourself.
I'm Dee Cooper. I'm with Monroe County Animal Shelter. The shelter I'm talking about is the City of Aberdeen shelter, and they have taken in pit bulls. The pit bulls that we took in were from a fight. They were fighting dogs, and Shaw Pit came to pick ours up, and there were 3 pits at the City of Aberdeen shelter, and they went over to pick those up. When they picked them up and they came out of the cage, I actually had to turn around. I could not look at these dogs. They were emaciated. One had a wound in his chest that you could put your fist through. And they took them, Shaw Pit Rescue out of Columbus took them in. They've gained like 10 to 18 pounds in like 2 weeks' time, these dogs have. And they're rehabilitating them, but we are really keeping the pressure on the City of Aberdeen about these pits. And we went to a meeting, and the mayor said that they would no longer be kept in these little holding cells. It was a tiny little cell where they were kept for a year. And they were rarely fed. They didn't have any blankets, anything for a whole year. They didn't have, they weren't bedded, nothing. And when they came out of there, like I said, they were just absolutely emaciated. But in this meeting, the mayor told us that they would no longer ever be held in that facility again. Well, this past weekend, what happened? The police picked up a pit, took it straight down there and put it in there. My friend over here, Sheila Higgins, heard it on the scanner and went down, and she talked to the police, the alderman, everybody, and they had to go down and take out the divide between the two kennels because it wasn't even room for that dog to lie down. So we've had a time with pit bulls.
And I was sharing with her that in this very county, about 10 years ago, I was called by drug enforcement. They were doing a drug bust, and they found pit bulls. The man on one side of the street had 11 pit bulls chained in mud and water, no houses. The fellow across the street had 43 pit bulls. We got a seizure order, a search and seizure order. I had the rape rack, the treadmills, the sewing kit. I had photos from inside the house of dead dogs being put in bags. The man and his estranged wife were on the internet as Mr. and Mrs. Mississippi Hot. We took 54 dogs. She told me she was friends with the judge and I would see that nothing would happen. What happened was I was ordered to give back the 17 dogs that were proved to be the fighters and the breeders. We were allowed to keep the rest of the dogs, and the charge of keeping animals to fight and fighting them never went to court. The whole case was completely dropped.
Here, Melissa.
this is Sheila Higgins, and she works with me at the Monroe County Humane Shelter. Where are you? Sheila. What was the size of the kennels that the dogs were put in? At the city shelter.
It was a 10-foot shelter, 10-foot run, but they put dividers in the middle where it'd only be 5 foot long and 3 foot wide. When I went into it, the food was molded and the water was stagnated. And the pit bulls, are we talking about the pit bulls?
Yes.
Pit bulls was put in there, and they had self-inflicted wounds from being bored and never out of the runs. And we went to the board of Aberdeen and the mayor and the aldermen, and they're working towards changing it. So we'll see, because we got an election year, we're getting a new mayor, so we're going to see how they're going to do with the dogs at the city shelter.
Yeah.
Yes. But it was pretty bad. Very bad. But Shaw Pit Bull Rescue took them.
Thank you.
We can all light our candles now if you've brought your candles, and we'll line up in front so that people can see that we're here for a cause. Remember that tonight, while we're here, somewhere, and in this county, somebody is abusing an animal. And that animal doesn't know we're here on its behalf, but if we stick together and keep working, one day we will change the way people think about the treatment of animals. But we have to take our own empowerment to have that happen.
He's got an adopter that he's going to after he's finished his arraignment.
But I'm suggesting that this next year, when we ask for legislation, we call it the CHAMP bill. Even though he's not the only one who's been abused, he'll be memorable because he was actually captured on video. It's one thing to know what was done, it's another thing to see the absolute brutality of such an act. And I really, really want to thank you all for coming. I know some of you came on behalf of the Tupelo-Lee Humane Society. Other people came because they're advocates. We have the Winona Animal Advocacy Group here. It's going to take all of us working together. And sometimes we're not going to be in agreement, but you know what? It's a lot easier to agree with one another than it is with Farm Bureau. Thank you all for coming. I know Farm Bureau is trying to keep us from getting a law passed to protect animals.
We don't have any laws?
I mean, the laws we have are so weak. They actually are written to keep you from being able to use them. Like the felony law, it's second offense down the line. If you tortured 500 dogs here tonight, it would be one misdemeanor. Unless you go under destruction of property.
Well, we need some good laws. If we don't have them.
Hey, Doll, have you told everybody how they can join the coalition and help make change?
Anybody who would like to join the coalition, the bottom line is, In Defense of Animals is helping us sponsor the coalition, but the coalition, the purpose, is to empower the groups in their own communities to take their action. It has to be a Mississippi-based coalition of Mississippians telling their legislators what they want, not an outside organization like In Defense of Animals or HSUS. But because we have been involved here for 24 years, I am a Mississippian now, we have the right to speak up.
What is their thing to say on defense of animals? That might be a worldwide.
Anybody that wants to look on Facebook for Justice for Animals and get in touch with me, we're willing to have meetings in any community to show you how to get started on working on ordinances in your community, even to help you understand how to use the laws. There are times when, with a puppy mill or something, instead of using the cruelty statutes, we'll call in DEQ because they're in violation of environmental law. We had a huge case with a pet shop supplier. Well, we involved the state ag department because the birds that he had were diseased. He had reptiles that were diseased. You really have to think out of the box and find all the different means that you can utilize in order to protect animals. And you know, if you can hit them in the pocket, that's where to hit them.
We want to thank everybody for joining us tonight and for your support of CHAMP, or your support of Hope Animal Sanctuary, In Defense of Animals, Justice for Animals Coalition. Stay with us. Doll is here in Mississippi, has been forever, and she's here to make a change. And we ask that you help us do that. Thank you so much for joining.